behalf of HLNY, we want to welcome you to today's program. My name is Sam Lin, President-elect for HLNY. And joining me today is Maureen Duran, ACHE Region for the New York Metro area, and Gina Lamantia, Director of Career Resource Development at ACHE. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat function to send it our way. I will be presenting with Maureen for the first 20 or so minutes, and will address your questions shortly after that time. Gina would then share and provide a demo of the ACHE Career Management tool, Career Edge. There will be another time for question and answers for her session as well. At this time, I would like to acknowledge our sponsors and thank them, as this program was made possible through their support. So let's get started. ACHE is an international professional society with over 48,000 members. The mission is to advance members in healthcare management excellence with the vision to be the preeminent professional society for leaders dedicated to improving health. By being a part of ACHE, you have an opportunity to grow your network locally, nationally, and globally, as this organization has a broad reach. These numbers also highlight ACHE's large presence in the C-suite. Give me 1 second. Is my screen being, just want to make sure you're able to see my slide deck.
We can see your slide deck, Sam.
Great, thank you. So what is HLNY, Healthcare Leaders of New York? There are 77 regional chapters in ACHE, and HLNY is New York's local chapter. To provide a quick history, HLNY was formed by the merging of several healthcare professional organizations in New York: the Metropolitan Healthcare Administrators Association, the Women's Health Network, and the Hudson Valley Healthcare Executives Association. HLNY's history can be traced as far back as 1969, and HLNY holds the distinction of being the first chapter to become a part of ACHE. So by being a part of HLNY, you are joining an established organization with a wealth of healthcare leadership experience. One question we often receive: how do we join HLNY? So by joining ACHE, you are automatically assigned to HLNY based on the region in your profile. It's a buy one, get one free kind of deal. I can tell you from my personal experience, other professional societies require a fee for both the parent and local organization. So not all professional societies provide this type of membership model. Another thing to note, as a student member, there is a time lag with your application. ACHE does verify your matriculation with the university, so that does take a little bit of time. We're proud to say that we have been the largest ACHE chapter for the last several years, averaging over 1,800 members. We have a large student population, and more than half of our membership has a director or higher title. So why join? You may have heard of the well-rounded professional, but here I would like to present to you the T-shaped professional. Healthcare is a highly regulated industry with constant changes that affects operations. Though the workplace may develop the deep skills and expertise, it may not necessarily provide the wide breadth of available knowledge in our industry. So I encourage you to consider being the T-shaped professional and letting ACHE HLNY be your resource by providing the broad knowledge needed for healthcare management excellence, as well as offer the deep expertise for your career journey. So what comes with being a student member or student associate of ACHE HLNY? At minimum, 6 identified benefits will be reviewed in the following slides. However, it is also important to know that in order to really gain the most of your membership, it's about being proactive and what you put into it. This membership aims to provide the tools and opportunities for you to advance your career. So as a member, you will have access to the members only section of ACHE and the LinkedIn group. There will be many educational resources and tools for your career advancement. You will also receive publications and newsletters with what's happening in the industry. The Healthcare Executive magazine provides leaders insights to the most current trends. The Journal of Healthcare Management provides commentaries from practitioners in the field, peer-reviewed articles, columns, and interviews featuring insights from healthcare leaders. The Frontiers publication provides articles and commentaries on evolving trends, with each issue dedicated to a single timely topic. You will also receive ACHE e-news and a student associate newsletter. You also receive discounted educational opportunities. ACHE's annual Congress in Chicago gathers more than 4,000 individuals with over 170 educational sessions to choose from and over 23 networking events. As a student, you can attend at a substantially discounted rate. HNY also provides local educational programs at a discounted rate also. We have several events throughout the year, and here are some photos of our mini Congress, which is an all-day educational and networking program typically held in the fall. You will also have access to resources such as Career Edge, which Gina will speak to later. There's also financial assistance through scholarships. Both ACHE and HLNY offers student scholarships. This year, HLNY is proudly launching the Leonard H. Senior Health Equity Scholarship. In addition to the financial award for this scholarship, each recipient will also be assigned to a mentor. I encourage you to visit hony.org for more information about the scholarship. We are currently accepting applications. So in my mind, this is the biggest benefit, building a community. It takes time to build a network, and the shared experiences lead to developing communities. HNY provides these opportunities to you. Here are some of the opportunities to build these connections. Typically, we have annual holiday parties and boat cruises with the purpose of networking. Because of COVID, we had to adapt and shift our programs to be more virtual. However, our educational webinars allow for ongoing dialogue on current topics. Building off of what we did this year, we are planning to expand our offerings to promote making connections for 2021. So the annual fee for student membership is $75. But if you join today, you get 15 months instead of the 12 months for $75. So that's the rest of 2020 and 2021 if you join today. It'll be $75 for student membership. After graduation, membership fee starts at $160 and grows as your career grows. So, encourage you to get a head start and join as a student associate. After graduating, continue as an ACHE member, and as your career progresses, consider earning the distinction of board certification, which Maureen will be speaking about next. So I want to thank you. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat function to shoot any questions our way, and I'm going to pass this over to Maureen now.
Thank you, Sam, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session for information for student members for ACHE and Health Leaders of New York. For many of you, your immediate focus is going to be on finishing your degree, getting a job, and first becoming a member of ACHE, as Sam has just outlined. We welcome you doing that, and we look forward to greeting you at an HLMI session. But as you think further about your career and where you want your path to go, consider putting in your plan to become a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives. This is the advancement for our membership association, and also an assist to help you with your career. So why is it important to become a member of a fellow of ACHE? You'll join those who are among the ranks as recognized leaders in healthcare management. It is a credential that meets rigorous standards, and in some instances, even a requirement for higher level positions. You'll demonstrate your competency and show your commitment to effective change and improvement throughout your career. Your development as a healthcare professional doesn't stop with your degree. It actually just gets started. So how do you know if you are eligible to apply? I'll review some of the basics just so that you can keep it in your plan. And I'll also just go briefly through the requirements for the board certification exam. So again, so you can have some advanced information for your own planning. The eligibility requirements are that you are a current member of ACHE for 3 years. This does not include the time that you spend as a student associate. So make sure to put that in your planning process as well. Next is what level of education. You do need to have a master's or a post-baccalaureate degree. On ACHE's website, there are further details about the specifications of these two requirements. Next, in terms of eligibility requirements, is your level of experience and time of experience as a healthcare manager. You need to hold an executive level position for a minimum of 5 years. So when you couple the 3-year ACHE membership requirement and the 5-year management position, you definitely want to be thinking ahead, joining ACHE, and starting your plan for a path to certification while you're gaining your experience and after you have your master's degree. The position you have, returning back to the eligibility requirements in terms of healthcare management, must be a department director or department head level or above. Again, on the website, there are specific points of information about examples of qualifying positions. Next, in terms of other requirements, you will see that you're going to need 2 references. One is a structured interview with a current fellow, and secondly, another written reference for a current fellow or senior leader in your organization. A structured interview covers things like how prepared are you for the exam, the board governor's exam, as well as what are your career aspirations and how do you plan to use the fellow credential. Next step in eligibility requirements is to make sure that you have the right continuing education credits. As Sam has mentioned, part of ACHE's core offerings is to make sure that they all stay current, and among the offerings are face-to-face education sessions. During COVID, these have been offered virtually in 2020 and also in 2021 they will be. And as well, the chapter offers face-to-face education credits, so those can be gotten locally without any travel. So remaining hours after the minimum of 12 hours can be gained through qualified education from other organizations as well as additional face-to-face education. Again, this may seem well into the future for many of you, but believe me, it does take time to accumulate these hours of credit, and you will want to have a multi-year plan in order to do this. And then we move to the final eligibility requirement before I will just briefly talk about the exam. And that is volunteer activities. Part of the hallmark of being a member of ACHE, being a healthcare professional, and being a fellow or a credentialed member of ACHE is to show commitment to volunteering and also to your community. So 2 healthcare-related activities in the last 3 years. This can include job sponsor activities or even service to HLM1, service to the regional chapter. And then finally, 2 community or civic activities within the last 3 years is also required. Membership on community committees, boards, speaking to community groups, or other community benefit-related organizations. Your final requirement will be, of course, to pass the Board of Governors exam. Now, the current initial pass rate is somewhere between 65 and 70%. So it is an exam that you do have to prepare for. But should you happen to take it and not pass it the first round, which some do, don't give up. Just redouble your efforts on the preparation. Seek your assistance with your colleagues. and you will pass it. Next, let me just outline briefly for you the structure of the Board of Governors exam, as well as how you might prepare for it. So the exam is designed with 230 multiple choice questions, 10 knowledge areas, and it takes a number of hours to complete. You do have 6 hours to complete. On the next slide, you'll see the outline of the knowledge areas. As you can see, the FACI board credential is intended to reflect a broad, general, executive level knowledge of healthcare. So in conclusion, as you prepare for this path for your career, again, this may be a little in the future for a number of you, but be thinking, because it is a multi-year plan based on the eligibility requirements and the things you need to do to prepare for them. We hope, though, that this gives you something to aspire to and something to plan for. In summary, the fellow credential is the board certification for healthcare administrators. It's recognized as such, recognized in many job interview processes, as well as among your fellow ACHE members, as the gold standard of healthcare competency and a reflection of commitment to the profession. Thank you for your attention, and Sam and I are going to be happy to take some questions at this point.
So we're going to open this time for any question and answers. So please feel free to enter your questions in the chat box. All right, so we're going to move on to Gina Lamantia's presentation on Career Edge. There will be some time after her presentation for question and answers. So if there are any questions, again, feel free to add that in the chat box. And we will be sure to answer it at the very end. So I'm going to hand this over to Gina.
Great, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you all for inviting me to review ACHE's Career Resource Center benefits and tools that support all of our members, including our student members, along the career development and job search continuum. As Sam said, I'm Gina Lamantia, and I serve as the director for ACHE's Career Resource Center. Tonight, I want to spend some time reviewing ACHE's unique Career Edge platform with all of you, but I want to talk about that within the context of strategic career planning. I want to talk about that because career planning overall is really a skill that you need to master now more than ever before. To really capitalize on the breadth of resources available to our ACHE members and our student members, you need to know what's available and how to access that information when you need it most. So let's take a look at the Career Resource Center, and I'll go into some detail about the resources and tools, and then we'll go ahead and take a deeper dive into the Career Edge platform. The Career Resource Center is a resource that you should be taking advantage of. One of the things that I hear most often from our members and our student members is that I had no idea ACHE had all of this available to me. Well, we do, and we want you to use it and take advantage of these resources. Part of a career process or a job search is that you don't really need it until you need it. But then when you do, you need to know where to go to get the information and the resources to help you along that path. So I want to be able to go through some of these resources with you so that you realize what's available to you. In the Career Resource Center, we have a very robust job center. Start to get familiar with this. Employers come to us, they look for the ACHE credential, the fellow credential. They're looking because they know that we are reputable. They know the types of members, the types of student members and fellows that we have, and they're looking to employ those members. Start to get familiar with that through the job center. In addition, as students, you can post your resume, you can start to get familiar with that, you can start to set up accounts and start to look for positions on your own. We also have a robust fellowship and internship guide on that site. The Leadership Mentoring Network and the Career Advising Network are other resources. The Career Advising Network is really designed for all of our members to be able to network and connect with one another. These are volunteers that have said, I'm available to answer questions, talk about career advice, talk about organizations, geography, things that you're looking at. And so it's a way to stay connected with our members, even when you may not know them. Same with the Leadership Mentoring Network. We're starting to get ready to launch a newly digitalized platform for this. This is really designed more for our early careerists and our members, not for the student members. But if you're continuing on and you're evolving into a full membership, definitely a system that you'll want to take advantage of. Interview prep, resume review. If you're at a point where you're a student, you're starting to think about the next step of your career, you're perhaps early in your career or in your first role and you're thinking about what's ahead for me, now is a good time to really fine-tune the interview skills, fine-tune your brand, make sure your resume is up to date, accurate information, and we have those resources to help you with that. We'll do a deeper dive into Career Edge in a little bit, but we also have a very robust executive coaches network as well as executive search firm partners. Again, these are on our website. They're on the career resource component within our website, and I encourage you to take a closer look at some of this. So if we move on, I want to ask you all, and think about this as I ask this question, and I do this to every group that I talk to, do you have a career plan? You know, think about this and answer this honestly for yourself. We typically see only about 28% of our members have a career plan. And I'm here to tell you that that's a problem. Career planning needs to always be on the radar. At least it should be on the radar at some degree. So we may not be consuming 75 or 100% of your time, but strategic career planning is definitely on the radar 25% of the time. It should be an active component for you all the time, despite what the career landscape is for you at this point in time. So what does this mean? You know, we talk about ongoing change, enduring evolution, revisioning a future state. Healthcare is clearly a market that is in the path of constant change. So you need to be able to think about this, navigate it, anticipate what those opportunities look like, and really have a good handle on what the marketplace looks like as you're thinking about your career plan. So moving to why do you need a career plan? I want you to really think about, you know, being in the thick of it right now with everything that's going on, right? With COVID and new challenges facing healthcare. The market has changed. We have a new way of thinking. The strategic process means that you're keeping up with all of those changes in the marketplace, and you're responsible for your own development along that path and your success. So strategic means you're thinking about it, you're intentionally creating plans to meet your anticipated goals for your own career. Continuous networking, connectivity, thinking about professional relationships in a different way, reaching out to learn and collaborate, ask questions, gain insights. For many of you that are students, that are in your graduate programs, that are early career in your first position, it's more important now than ever before for you to do this and do it well and work at it, because it takes time to develop that network. And it's not just networking to find a job. It's networking to stay connected, to gain information, to learn from one another, and to really start to get some momentum on the professional landscape. So let's talk about the development of a career strategy. When we look at this from the career resource point of view, we always look at this with these two pillars in mind, right? It's the self-assessment piece. So who are you? What do you bring to the table? And then it's the market analysis piece. So within that self-assessment piece, we're really talking about, what do you need? What are your motivators? What are your values? What drives you in the marketplace? What are your requirements when you're talking about geography or salary or benefits? But also, what do you offer, right? What's your value proposition? What are your strengths? What are your competencies? When you're talking about that with an employer or a leader or a professor or a fellow colleague, how do you present that information? And then the market assessment is that second pillar. So similarly, what does the marketplace offer to you? What is the culture of the organizations that you're targeting? What's their reputation? What's their employee engagement look like? What kind of work are they doing out in the field? And then what does the marketplace need from you? Now, this is important because you're going to need to start thinking about what are the skills and competencies that the position requires. What are the positions that you're targeting? What are the requirements? And now, is there alignment between yourself and that market assessment? If there isn't, that's an opportunity for some ongoing development and improvement. Perhaps there are gaps that you'll need to look at. So this is where we get to Career Edge. It is a platform that is online, self-guided, and really allows you to do this in a very meaningful and intentional way. Career Edge has two different options. And I wanted to show this because for those of you in the audience tonight, some of you may be students, some of you may be evolving into full members, but I wanted you to be aware that there are two different platforms, a lot of similarities, but the Career Edge for our professional members is one, and then the student edition is nuanced with some tweaks to address the needs that are specific to our student members. So these are the two platforms that we use. It is a self-guided planning tool that will leave you with an actionable career plan. It is ACHE's own platform. We designed this. We launched it in 2016, and we have found that our members have gained great benefit from it. If we move forward, I wanted you to just be aware when you go onto ache.org, you'll see these two different gateways for you to access Career Edge. Make sure that when you sign in that you are accessing either the student edition or the professional member edition. So I want to show you now the landing page that you'll see when you get into Career Edge Student Edition. When we look at this page, there is a lot of information here. And that's a good thing because this is a lot of good information that you can take advantage of. You'll see on the left-hand side, there are salary and placement statistics that are updated annually via CAMI. There are social media feeds, Twitter feeds, Indeed feeds. You can customize those Indeed feeds to fit the jobs and the titles and the industries that you are seeking. On the top right, there are a variety of free assessment tools that are available to you. Interest inventories, personality inventories, values. And then along that top blue ribbon, you'll see there's a toolbar that is really just jam-packed with a lot of valuable information. Sample career goals, LinkedIn checklists, sample resumes, resume guidelines, personal statements, sample cover letters, career tips, job center and interview prep information, chapter information. So all of this is at your fingertips. I would encourage you to go to the platform, look at this, and start to click around to get an idea of some of the resources that are available to you. In the middle of the page, you'll see there is a career pathway. This will essentially lead you through the self-guided career development planning pathway that is really going to help you define and clarify your career objectives and personal brand. Well, why is this important? It's important because the more clear you are on that, the more defined it is for you, the better positioned you are to articulate that in any type of interview that you're in your personal brand, in your resume, and your cover letters. you need to connect the dots for any potential employers and organizations that you are interested in. And you need to make that case for yourself in a meaningful way. Going through this self-guided tool allows you to do that and really define that much more clearly. So as I said, there is a pathway that has these 5 steps. Let's talk about those 5 steps so that you get an idea of what we're talking about further. Each one of these steps goes back to what I talked about earlier, which was essentially the strategic career planning piece, right? So if you move to the next slide, you'll see in step 1, you're going very specifically into what do you need, right? What are your career preferences? This gets into some of the self-assessment activity that you'll do. What are your needs? What are your motivators? The activities within this pathway and this step will allow you to define that. Step 2, what do you offer? The competency assessments, your personal brand, getting specific. Not I'm a good communicator, but being very specific about I am very good at providing strategic direction to my team and following up in a meaningful way. Getting into the detail much more specifically. Step 3 is now getting into the market industry. So what does the marketplace need? What do you know about the marketplace? What competencies and skills are required? There is a tool called the Marketplace tool that allows you to really identify what are the positions that I keep looking at? What am I driven to? Put those in and really start to define what are the terms, what are the requirements, what are the skills, and then crosswalk that to your resume. Do I have these? Am I meeting the need? As they're looking at applicant tracking systems, do my words pop up? Are they relevant? Is my resume meeting what the job requirements say? This starts to get into that alignment again between yourself and the marketplace. And then what does the marketplace offer? That 5th step then is the action plan that comes out of the work that you do through the tool. So it's taking you through a variety of assessments, activities, open-ended questions, and that all that pulls together into an action plan that then gives you a pathway forward. If we move forward, I just want to show you briefly the Career Edge platform for our professional members. You'll see it looks very similar. The landing page is very similar. For those of you that are transitioning from student member to ACHE professional member, this is what you'll see. Similarly, it has the free assessments. It does include all of our upcoming career development webinars and events. We have that toolbar along the top that has all of the tools and samples, career goals, all of that information is available to you. But the framework is a little bit different in this one. This uses a 3-step plan, and you'll see on the left-hand side, the Career Edge framework activity starts to walk you through that plan. So same thing, you're identifying very specifically, what are my mission, vision, and values that make up my career goals? What are the career goals that I'm looking at? Maybe 1 year, 3 year, 5 years down the line. The discovery is the second part. And that discovery really goes into that 4-part strategic model again, right? What are my needs? What do I bring to the table? What does the marketplace need? And what does the marketplace bring to the table? And it really is finding alignment between those areas to ensure that the positions and the roles that you're looking at align with what your professional competencies, skills, and your brand look like. And then that career plan is really the robust summary output and development plan that comes from all of the work that you put in this. So if we move forward, I'll be able to show you a sample Career Edge plan that comes out of the platform once you've worked in this. You'll see there's a lot of information going on here, but it's fairly robust. It's very specific. Similar to any online platform that you use, the more information, the better information that you put in, the better output that you get. So for a lot of this, it's going to challenge you. You're going to need to think about very specifically what it is that you're trying to achieve and input that information as you're going through the step-by-step process. I always tell our members and our students, it's not a quick hit. So don't expect to sit down and crank it out in 20 minutes and have a career plan. It takes time. You need to be thoughtful about it. You need to kind of go through it step by step. For many, they come back, they sit and they do it for maybe a bit of time. They come back in a week, they add to it. So it's a work in progress that you can continually update, change, add. It evolves as you go through. But the plan that comes out of this is, as I said, very robust. It gives you very specific areas of focus, and then action steps that you are defining with target dates to keep you on track. One of the other things I tell people is it's helpful if you have an accountability partner to work with you as you're doing this as well. That keeps you on track, keeps the movement going, and gives you some momentum. If you're struggling or you're having challenges or you're looking for additional input, it's really helpful to have a leader or a colleague, a professor, a fellow staff member, somebody that can help you along the way, that you can present this information to and get feedback. How does this sound? Am I missing anything? I'm feeling like I need to do some more development work in this area. Maybe I need some additional training or project work in this arena. So think about that as you're working through that sample career plan. As I wrap this up here, I want to make sure that all of our student members, especially those that are engaged in the higher education network, are aware of the student associate benefits that are there for you. I think your leaders here tonight did a wonderful job of talking about those on the front end. I hope you'll take advantage of those. All of the student associate benefits are listed here on the ACHE website under membership. For those of you that are early careerists and starting out, again, we have that early careerist forum. I would encourage you to participate in that. Discounted products and services, robust education events and webinars, networking and mentoring opportunities. So please make sure that you're aware of these things and you're taking advantage of them as much as you can. Finally, on the last slide here, I just included on our resources a direct URL to the Career Edge platform as well as the Career Resource Center. Might be a good thing to bookmark or think about if it's something that you're accessing regularly, which I would encourage you to do. And Sam talked about this earlier, but I have some social media sites on here as well. If you're members, you need to be connected and see what's going on. So make sure you're joining the ACHE LinkedIn site, our Facebook site. We have an Instagram, a Twitter feed. You should include those as you're developing in the professional landscape here. These are things that you should remain active and engaged along, continue to grow and build your network, stay connected, and be aware of the issues and the topics that are impacting your professional industry. So with that, thank you again for inviting me, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you might have.
All right, thank you, Gina. So again, just to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please enter it into the chat box. So Gina, actually, I had a question for you.
Sure.
Does the data that's entered into the student edition transfer into the member, the full membership member edition when they transfer from student to member?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sam. Unfortunately, it does not. Again, just because some of the pathways and the inputs are different. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I tell students, it's really great to take advantage of the student edition because you'll be clarifying things for yourself as you're defining your brand and getting ready to enter into the professional world. But beyond that, you'll find early in your career, things change pretty frequently as well. So it doesn't hurt to kind of go through that activity and exercise. You just come with a base of knowledge that you know, but it's probably easier to clarify some of the things that you're recognizing you want to do for the future.
Thank you.
Other questions?
There was another question that came a little earlier that asked, what were the 10 subject areas? And I'm assuming that's probably referring to the FACHE exam. So I could just answer it. It's healthcare is number 1, management and leadership is 2, finance is 3, human resources is 4, quality and performance management is 5, business is 6, healthcare IT and information management 7, laws and regulations 8, professionalism and ethics 9, governance and organizational structures 10. So understanding that these are the knowledge areas to prepare for the FACHE exam, it would be good to have these as your goals, as you're being proactive with your career, and enter those goals into your career edge, and have those benchmarks, those milestones of what you want to attain in these different knowledge areas. It's a good question.
I'm seeing, how would you go about attaining a mentor as an early careerist? Great question. ACHE has had a leadership mentoring network program in place for several years. As I mentioned briefly earlier, we're transitioning to a new digital platform, and we are in the process right now of recruiting mentees that are interested in being assigned a mentor. The way the program works is there are 2 cohorts annually. The first one will launch October of this year, so October 1st, and it is a fairly defined, structured mentoring program where there's an algorithm question and answer system that matches based on what your priorities and your development needs look like, and assigns you a mentor. And then that's a 6-month time period that's led by the mentee in terms of setting up goals and objectives and learning objectives that you'd like to accomplish during the mentor relationship. As I mentioned, it's really designed for early careerists, our members. Really, any of our members can benefit depending on where they're at in their career status and what they're looking at. The student members, unfortunately, aren't in the mentoring network for a number of reasons. It's just really, most of them are not at a point where they're going to benefit from a mentor at that level yet. Most of them are getting that through their academic careers or through their current employer. And we find that they just don't have the capacity to really manage that in a meaningful way, full term, for a 6-month engagement with an executive leader. But that's where we get back to the Career Advising Network, which is really another resource I would encourage you all to look at. That's open, available to our student members. Many of our ACHE members, executive level, C-suite, and so on, are volunteers in that. Any career questions, it's more of a, what I would consider a quick hit, where you may want to reach out for a quick question, an email, set up a quick phone call, ask about some career considerations, maybe based on an organization, a geography, a title, so forth. But we find that our students get great benefit from that.
So I would also like to add regarding the mentorship. Again, I would like to emphasize our newly launched Leonard H.N. Senior Health Equity Scholarship, which we are accepting applications right now. If you go to the hony.org website, click onto the member services, and when you click into member services, there are student services. If you click into there, you will see the application for this scholarship. In addition to the financial award, you will also be paired with a mentor. So it's a great opportunity to use this time to both help you in financially as well as career development with a mentor and being paired with a mentor. So I just wanted to highlight that area as well.
There's a couple other questions in here, Sam, that I'm happy to respond to. Many of the resources mentioned seem to be geared toward early careerists or younger students. Is there advice you can give to individuals who may not be as young or those hoping to change careers? Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think a lot of the resources that are on the Career Resource Center still fit that need. You'd really just be approaching it a little bit differently. What we find for some of the more advanced careerists is they're benefiting more from self-assessment tools above and beyond sort of career edge. So a deeper dive into their leadership traits, a deeper dive into conflict management, a deeper dive into change management. What are some of the areas that they're looking that they need to develop further? I think for those, those are the folks that I would say probably benefit from the mentoring network with a little bit more vigor. So I think those opportunities are available. The Job Center is really helpful. I'm always available. Many of our members reach out to me, and I'm happy to meet with many of them And as I mentioned, the executive coaches, that directory is also available. Many opt to go down that road if they're feeling like they need some additional development above and beyond.
So the next question here is about, hello, thank you so much for this informative session. What are the advantages of pursuing an administrative fellowship? Does ACHE provide mentorship and guidance to pursue this route post-MBA, MHA?
Yeah, another really good question. I would steer you to ache.org, and you can see right now all of the fellowships are posted. This is recruitment season for fellowships, and so many students, current graduate, and those who are already finished post MBA or MHA, I would encourage you to look at those opportunities. You can apply directly to those. We support that. We think it's an excellent way to actually apply the work and everything that you've learned in the classroom in a real setting. And we find that most of our members that go down that road, our student members, really benefit exponentially from doing something like that.
I just went onto the ACHU website myself, did a search postgraduate fellowships, and found a whole wealth of information and resources that you could tap into to help support getting a administrative fellowship. So that's what I would encourage you to look at as well.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
All right, the next question is for Maureen. When should I transfer my student membership to full member? My goal is to get my FACHE certification. I'm currently finishing my final undergrad course, and I am currently taking master classes while in a dual degree. My expected graduation for my master's is December 2021.
So if you are full-time working in healthcare, you should be switching your membership from student associate to full membership at that point. And that would start your process if you're thinking ahead towards the fellow credential. You didn't reference that in your question, but I'm going to assume that that's where you're leading. Because once you're working full-time in the field, even if you are pursuing a part-time master's, you are considered eligible for membership in full membership in ACHE. Sam, did I address all elements of that question?
Yeah, I think so. I think the other thing to note is that your clock starts, I believe within the 5 years of FACHE qualification is when you become a member, a full member, and it doesn't start when you are a student member. So I think that's important to calculate in your timeline and identify when you need to be, when you would like to go for your FACHE certification.
That's correct, because as you line up the eligibility requirements, remember you do need a master's. However, as Sam is saying, you do need those 5 years of of experience at that level. So you do want that clock to start. So yes, thank you, Sam.
The other question is, are there scholarship opportunities for part-time MBA healthcare management students? So I know for HLNY, we have 2 sets of scholarships, and they are available for part-time MBA healthcare management students. But it's really for any MBA healthcare, MHA, MPA. I need to take a deeper look into the ACHE requirements for their student scholarships. But again, if you take a look in the ACHE website, they should have more information about that. But I'm not sure if that's something that anyone else would be able to answer.
Yeah, I know there are 2, but I'm not sure of the status of part-time versus full-time student.
All right. Any other questions? Let's give about 1 more minute. All right, so we hope that you have found this session valuable, and we do encourage you to visit the ache.org website and hony.org website. If you come to the hony.org website, you will have some more information about our upcoming events. We do have quite a few upcoming events that you could attend, and you also find some information regarding the scholarships that we just discussed. You can also find our contact information for all the board members at hony.org should you have any future questions. So I want to thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. So have a good night. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.